Hey there, feeling good today? Ready to stick with me through this video? The story I'm about to share might sound bizarre, even give you chills. Sometimes, what feels crazy is just your gut screaming to protect you. If you've ever suspected someone close is hiding something behind your back, stay until the end. This is a young woman's journey uncovering seemingly harmless red flags until the truth hits hard enough to keep you up at night. Hey, listener, you're in for a story that starts with a nagging feeling and builds into something unsettling. I'm Emily, 22, a barista and part-time student in Portland, Oregon, trying to figure out life one coffee shift at a time. My boyfriend, Jordan, 28, is a freelance graphic designer, charming, creative, but not great with conflict. We've been together a year and a half, living in a cozy apartment that's mostly mine but feels like ours. Things were good until little clues started piling up, like drips from a leaky faucet, making me question what I thought I knew. It all began with a toothbrush and a gut feeling I couldn't shake. Jordan and I clicked fast when we met at a local art fair. He was easygoing, with a quick laugh and a knack for making me feel seen. We moved in together after a year, splitting rent and dreaming about future trips. But Jordan had a habit of dodging arguments. If I brought up something bothering me, like his late nights working or forgetting plans, he'd go quiet, giving me the silent treatment until I dropped it. It wasn't a deal breaker, just a quirk I learned to navigate. Still, it meant we didn't always dig into the hard stuff, and maybe that's why I didn't notice the weirdness sooner. It started with my electric toothbrush. I keep it on the bathroom counter, always in the same spot, next to the sink. About 6 months ago, I noticed it wasn't where I'd left it, shifted a few inches, sometimes angled differently. I'd shrug, thinking I'd bumped it while rushing to work, but then it got stranger. I'd come home from a shift and find the brush head wet, like it had been used, even though I hadn't touched it since morning. Jordan has his own toothbrush, a manual one, so it didn't make sense. I asked him once, casual, "Hey, you didn't use my electric brush, did you?" He looked up from his laptop, frowning. "Why would I? That's gross." His tone was so certain, I felt silly for asking, but the feeling lingered. One evening, after a long day, I grabbed my toothbrush and froze. The bristles had a faint grayish smudge, like dirt from a floor, not food or toothpaste. My stomach turned. I scrubbed it clean, wondering if I dropped it and forgotten. Jordan was out with friends, so I couldn't ask him. The next day, I watched him brush his teeth, some manual brush, same routine, nothing odd. Still, my gut wouldn't quit. Was I imagining things? Or was something off, something I couldn't pin down? I decided to test it. I bought a cheap manual toothbrush and hid it in my makeup bag, tucked in a drawer Jordan never touched. I started using that one instead, leaving the electric one on the counter as a decoy. For weeks, I checked both. The hidden brush stayed dry, untouched, exactly where I left it. But the electric one, it kept moving, shifted slightly, sometimes wet at odd hours, like late at night when I was asleep or early morning before my shift. Once, I found another faint smudge on the bristles, gritty and dark. My skin crawled. Someone was using it, and it wasn't me. I tried to stay rational. Maybe Jordan was borrowing it and lying for some weird reason, embarrassment, or because his brush was worn out. But why not just say so? We shared a bathroom, a bed, a life. Why hide something so small? I thought about confronting him, but his silent treatment habit made me hesitate. If I was wrong, he'd shut down, and I'd feel like the paranoid girlfriend. If I was right, what did that mean? The thought of someone else in our apartment touching my things was too wild to entertain. Yet the toothbrush kept betraying me, a tiny clue screaming something wasn't right. I started noticing other things. Jordan's phone was suddenly password locked, when it never used to be. He'd take calls in the hallway, keeping his voice low. Once, I came home early and found the bathroom floor damp, like someone had mopped it in a hurry. I asked, "Did you clean?" He shrugged. "Yeah, spilled some water, but the mop was bone dry in the closet." My mind raced. Was I overthinking? Or was I onto something? The toothbrush was my only proof, a small, gross mystery that wouldn't let me rest. Listener, Emily's world is tilting, and these little clues are just the start. Is Jordan hiding something? Or is she seeing shadows where there's nothing? Stay with Metha's stories about to get darker, and the truth is closer than she thinks. Emily's life in Portland was starting to feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. At 22, she was juggling barista shifts, college classes, and a relationship with Jordan, her 28-year-old boyfriend of a year and a half. Their cozy apartment, once a safe haven, now hummed with unease. The mystery of her electric toothbrush moved. Wet, smudged with dirt at odd times had become an obsession. She'd hidden a second brush to test her suspicions, and while it stayed untouched, the electric one kept betraying her. No matter how she tried to explain it away, her gut screamed that something was wrong, and Jordan's evasiveness wasn't helping. The clues were piling up, and Emily was running out of ways to ignore them. Her anxiety grew, a low buzz that followed her everywhere. At work, she'd zone out mid-pour, wondering who was touching her toothbrush and why. At home, she'd check the bathroom counter obsessively, noting every shift in its position. She dug out an old phone, hoping to use it as a makeshift security camera, but the battery was shot, and it didn't capture anything useful. She considered buying a real camera, but hesitated. Spending money to spy on her own apartment felt like admitting she didn't trust Jordan, and that thought made her chest ache. They were supposed to be partners, not suspects in some creepy mystery. Still, patterns emerged. Emily noticed the toothbrush incident spiked after arguments. If she pushed Jordan about his late nights or snapped about dishes left in the sink, she'd find the brush wet or moved the next day, sometimes with that gritty smudge. One night, after a tense fight about him bailing on her friend's art show, she woke up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom and saw the brush head glistening, fresh from use. Jordan was a sleeper, so she thought, sprawled on their bed. Her heart pounded. Had he gotten up while she slept? Or was someone else in their home? The idea was absurd, but it clung to her, feeding her sleepless nights. Emily tried to talk herself down. Maybe she was paranoid, seeing conspiracies in a $20 toothbrush. Jordan wasn't perfect. This silent treatment during fights drove her nuts, but he wasn't a monster. Maybe he was using her brush out of laziness, too embarrassed to admit it. Or B, she was misplacing it herself, stressed from work and school. But the hidden brush in her makeup bag, untouched and dry, mocked those excuses. Someone was using her electric one. And the damp bathroom floor, Jordan's new phone password, his hushed hallway calls, they all pointed to something she didn't want to name. She read online forums, searching boyfriend using my toothbrush late at night. Most posts were about hygiene quirks, not malice, but a few mentioned partners doing odd things out of spite. One woman wrote about her ex hiding her keys to teach her a lesson. Was Jordan capable of that? Emily didn't want to believe it, but doubt had taken root. She needed answers, not just clues. Confronting him was risky. His habit of shutting down could leave her with nothing but silence, but she couldn't keep living with this gnawing fear. One evening, after a quiet dinner, Emily steeled herself. Jordan was on the couch, sketching on his tablet, the TV humming low. She sat across from him, her hands clasped to stop their trembling. Jordan, I need to ask you something, she said, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. Have you been using my toothbrush when you're mad at me? She watched his face, searching for a tell. Jordan looked up, his brow creasing, then burst out laughing. What? Are you crazy? He said, his tone light but edged with irritation. Why would I touch your toothbrush? That's disgusting. He shook his head, going back to his sketch, dismissing her. Emily's face burned, a mix of hurt and embarrassment. It's been moved, she pressed, her voice shaking now. It's wet when I haven't used it, sometimes dirty. I'm not making this up. Jordan sighed, not looking at her. Maybe you're stressed, Em. I don't know. Sounds like you need to chill. He didn't offer an explanation, didn't engage, just shut her down, like he always did when things got tense. The dismissal stung worse than the toothbrush itself. She'd opened herself up, voice of fear that made her feel unhinged, and he'd laughed it off, leaving her alone with her doubts. She retreated to the bedroom, curling up with her phone, her mind a storm. Had she sounded ridiculous? Was she blowing this out of proportion? But the facts didn't leave brush. The smudges, the timing. Jordan's refusal to engage only deepened her unease. She loved him, or at least she thought she did, but this wasn't the partnership she'd signed up for. His laughter echoed in her head, making her feel small, foolish. Yet her gut wouldn't let go, whispering that the truth was uglier than she wanted to face. Listener, Emily standing on the edge, caught between love and suspicion. Is Jordan gaslighting her, or is she chasing ghosts? The toothbrush is just the start, and the real truth is about to break through. Stay with Metha's stories heading somewhere you won't expect. Emily's confrontation with Jordan left her reeling. At 22, in their shared Portland apartment, the toothbrush mystery moved. Wet, smudged had unraveled her trust, but Jordan's dismissal, "Are you crazy?" cut deeper. His laughter, his refusal to engage, turned her fear into shame. She had no concrete proof, no smoking gun, yet the unease in her gut wouldn't quit. The red flags weren't just about a toothbrush anymore. They were about a relationship that made her doubt herself. Emily was done chasing clues. She needed to face the truth, not just about Jordan, but about what she deserved. Sitting alone in their bedroom that night, Emily replayed their year and a half together. Jordan's charm had drawn her in, but his flaucilent treatments, dodging conflict, brushing off her concerns she'd piled up. When she'd ask about his late nights or push for deeper talks, he'd shut down, leaving her to smooth things over. Her feelings, her boundaries, were always secondary. The toothbrush saga was just the latest example. She'd voiced a real worry, and he'd mocked it, making her feel unhinged. Whether he was using her brush out of spite or hiding something worse didn't matter anymore. His refusal to communicate, to respect her instincts, was a deal-breaker. Needing perspective, Emily called her best friend, Mia, the next day. Over coffee at a quiet cafe, she spilled everything: the toothbrush, the smudges, Jordan's locked phone, the damp bathroom floor, his dismissal. She braced for laughter, expecting Mia to call her paranoid. Instead, Mia listened, her face serious. That's not okay," she said. "Even if he's not doing anything creepy, he's dismissing you. Your gut's telling you something. Trust it." Mia's validation was a lifeline, pulling Emily out of the fog of self-doubt. For the first time, she felt seen, her fears not silly but reasonable. Mia's advice echoed, "You don't need proof to know you're not happy." That night, Emily lay awake, her mind clear despite the ache in her chest. She loved Jordan. The idea of him, but love wasn't enough when it came with constant unease. The toothbrush was a symptom, not the disease. The real issue was a relationship where her voice was ignored, her instincts belittled. Staying meant more nights questioning herself, more fights ending in silence. Leaving meant uncertainty, but also freedom. At 22, she was too young to settle for a life of doubt. By dawn, her decision was made. She was done. The next day, while Jordan was at a client meeting, Emily packed a bag. She didn't take much clothes. Her laptop, the hidden toothbrush from her makeup bag, the electric one she left on the counter, a silent testament to the truth she'd never fully uncover. She moved to Mia's place, a temporary crash pad, while she figured out her next steps. Before leaving, she wrote a note, taping it to the fridge. "Jordan, I need space. This relationship ain't healthy for me anymore. I wish you the best." It was polite, final, no accusations. She didn't owe him a fight or an explanation. Had his chance to listen. Walking away wasn't easy. Emily second-guessed herself, wondering if she'd overreacted, if a toothbrush was worth ending a relationship. But Mia's words, her own gut, kept her grounded. The hurt wasn't about bristles or dirt. It was about trust, respect, and a partner who chose silence over accountability. Jordan texted once, a vague "Can we talk?" She didn't reply. Blocking him felt too final, but she wasn't ready to reopen the wound. To heal, Emily took a step she'd been scared to try: therapy. She found a counselor through her college's health services, someone who helped her unpack the paranoia, the shame, the lingering doubt. Sessions were rottiers over Jordan, fear she'd misread everything, guilt for leaving. But slowly, she saw the bigger picture. Her instincts hadn't betrayed her, they protected her. Therapy wasn't about solving the toothbrush mystery, it was about rebuilding her confidence, learning to trust herself again after months of feeling unmoored. Emily didn't know what Jordan was hiding. If anything, maybe he'd used her brush in a petty act of anger. Maybe there was more, something else. Some secret. She'd never know, and that was okay. She'd chosen herself, and that was enough. She started small new routines, new goals, a life where her voice mattered. So, listener, thanks for staying with me. Emily's story isn't just about a creepy clue, it's about listening to your gut when the world says you're wrong. Would you have left, or kept digging for proof? When's a time your instincts saved you? Share bellow when listening. Stay tuned. Life's got more truths to uncover.